What's up everyone, it's Scotty with MoneyVest. So in this video, we are going to be talking about Advanced Micro Devices, ticker symbol AMD, one of my favorite stocks, and their reported earnings for the fourth quarter fiscal year 23 just about a couple days ago, and the stock obviously dropped a little bit over 6%. It is still obviously down from its highs, well over $180 per share, I believe, was the all-time high. So $184, $185 all-time highs, and it is a little bit lower, down about 10% from its all-time highs. I'm going to break down exactly all the earnings and take a look at the technical analysis on this stock as well. As always, if you enjoyed this video and find it helpful, make sure that you drop a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's the first week of the month. Best time to join our Patreon. You get access to all the members-only private videos, trade alerts, trade ideas, options alerts, and all the intrinsic value buy and sell alerts. Of course, the watch list with fair values as well, with the link down below. So this right here is going to be the actual earnings from AMD. And for the fourth quarter, revenue came in at just over $6.1 billion. That's up 10% year over year and about 6% quarter over quarter. Gross profits came in at about $2.9 billion, up 21% year over year and 6% quarter over quarter. And gross profit margins were about 47%, which was up like 4 percentage points on a year over year basis and basically flat on a quarter over quarter basis. And we did see operating income, $342 million. And these again are GAAP numbers. And last year, as we already know, on a GAAP basis, the company did generate losses due to the Xilinx acquisition. There was a lot of write-offs because of the amortization and depreciation, and of course the acquisition that we had. But on a non-GAAP basis, you'll notice operating income was $1.4 billion, up 12% year over year, and net income coming in at $1.2 billion. That's up 12% on a year over year basis, and diluted earnings per share about 77 cents per share. This right here is going to be on an annual basis, and we're going to be specifically looking at non-GAAP numbers. So $22.6 billion of revenue, slightly down 4% because of the gaming segment seeing a little bit of softening in 2023 because of course, we saw a huge pull forward in 2022 and 2023 would not really see a lot of momentum for gaming, but it was offset by record revenues in cloud and data center revenues for Advanced Micro Devices. Gross profits coming in at $11.4 billion, slightly down about 7%. Margins were also slightly lower, 2 percentage points to 50%, and operating income coming in at $4.8 billion on a non-GAAP basis, down 23%. So that is definitely a pretty significant slowdown. And net income coming in at $4.3 billion, down 22% as well. And diluted earnings per share, $2.65, down 24% for Advanced Micro Devices. So, given on a trailing 12-month basis, the stock price right now is trading at about 167. So if you do the math here, 167 divided by 265, we're looking at a price to earnings multiple on a non-GAAP basis on a trailing 12-month basis at 63. So AMD most certainly has rallied quite a bit, because if you take a look at where it was just a few sort of months ago, 90, it was trading at 33, 34 times earnings multiple, right? So from 90 all the way to $167, of course, we've seen a pretty significant rally. This right here has been a 96%, just basically more than almost doubled here in the last several months since October all the way to January, right? So in just a short span of time, November and December pretty much is when AMD is pretty much doubled here from about $90 to well over $180 a share. So valuations, of course, have expanded for the company here. Now, data center segment revenue in the quarter was $2.3 billion, up 38% year over year and 43% quarter over quarter, driven by strong growth in AMD Instinct GPUs and 4th gen AMD EPYC CPUs. And for 2023, data center segment revenue was $6.5 billion, and that was a record for the company, increasing 7% on a year-over-year basis. This right here, again, AMD is uniquely positioned in AI, as we already know that NVIDIA is kind of like the leader of artificial intelligence in providing a lot of CPUs and GPUs. AMD is coming in at a decent second with cloud, HPC, enterprise, PC, and embedded software, and of course, generative AI. They're providing a lot of chips, a lot of brains behind the operations when it comes to artificial intelligence. So advancing end-to-end AI infrastructure for AMD. And that's exactly one of the reasons why the thesis was so strong for AMD back when it was at $80, $90, because it hadn't even started the move for artificial intelligence. And of course, that 95, 96% rally is what we were trying to capture. And the fact that it's already now pushed up that much, I'm not super confident given the valuation, because a lot has already been priced into the stock at the moment. So operating income, as we already went over, net income, non-GAAP operating income, $4.9 billion for the entire year, which was slightly lower. And when it comes to the balance sheet, the company is still boosting a very strong balance sheet of $5.7 billion of cash. Inventories are sort of 4.3 billion. That's pretty considerable. Inventory and total debt sitting at $2.4 billion, so twice as much cash than total debt on the balance sheet. So once again, a very strong balance sheet nonetheless. And this right here is going to be fourth quarter 2023 segment results, with data center once again growing about 38% year over year, 43% quarter over quarter. Client segment revenues were up 62% year over year, flat quarter over quarter. And gaming was, again, like I said earlier, was the big drawdown here, 17% year over year and about 9% quarter over quarter. And embedded services was also down 24% and year over year and down 15% quarter over quarter. So basically, this right here, the last two segments was really where the weakness was coming from. And data center and client services was really the offsetting of those two segments, kept up the revenues and only down about 4% on a year-over-year basis. Now, when it comes to the outlook, now this is why I believe the stock price basically sold off a little bit over 6%, is because the outlook was not super great. $5.4 billion in the first quarter of 2024 is what the company is expecting. And if you come back to the first quarter of 23, this right here, I believe, is going to be the number. And they reported this for the period ending in December 22. So this right here, period ending in March, and they reported revenues of 5.35 billion. So 5.35 billion with 5.4 billion, that's not a lot of growth. That's barely like over 4%. So if you do the math, 5.4 divided by 5.35, we're looking at a growth rate of less than 1% for the company. So it's basically going to be a flat quarter for AMD in the current quarter that we're currently in, and gross profit margins of 52%. So this is really what Wall Street did not like. And despite having $3.5 billion of AI GPUs pre-orders for the company, of course, the guidance was still a little bit softer compared to what we have already seen with NVIDIA. So, a lot of Wall Street analysts were expecting, AMD to report something similar to NVIDIA, where, there's going to be a constant state of shortage due to incredible demand. And as a result, pre-orders coming in strongly and the guidance is going to be much better. But that's not the case. And for AMD, since supply is not an issue, which the company said that it will not be supply constrained, which essentially means that demand for new GPUs is at least somewhat limited as it ramps. NVIDIA, whose AI GPUs are in a constant state of shortage due to incredible demand, is said to have 52-week wait times for a new GPU. So many would have expected AMD to have a similar problem. And regardless, AMD says that its MI300 sales are on pace to be the fastest revenue ramp for any product in the company's history, as it increased its projected sales from previous $2 billion to $3.5 billion estimates as well. So bottom line is, I think both NVIDIA and AMD, NVIDIA more specifically, is able to charge slightly higher prices because it's kind of considered in the market a little bit of a premium product. AMD, maybe not so much, but the bottom line is, I think these are two companies that are kind of leading the sort of transition to AI infrastructure when it comes to chip design. NVIDIA, obviously being the leader, has a lot of market share. AMD is coming in at a close second. It's got a lot of potential, no doubt, for the next 5, let's say 10 years. But currently, right now, just based on today's valuation, I think AMD still trades at a very expensive valuation. It wasn't that the case going back as far as October. So that's what that's what I'm here to help you understand, is that it's not like my thesis on a company's changed because the company fundamentals have changed. No, it's simply based on valuation, right? We look at valuation, we look at risk and reward. You go back, watch my videos from back in October, September, when AMD was in the 80s and 90s. It was a clear buying opportunity, right? I even picked up shares and, I sent out all the alerts in the Discord. We were up like 60-70% as this entire rally sort of played out. But now at 166, 167, I'm not that confident. I don't think that AMD is kind of undervalued. By no means. It's cheap right now, trading at very expensive valuation, and a lot has been priced in. And the fact that it's overbought here on the RSI and the MACD kind of makes me a little bit more cautious to understand, okay, there is potential for a pullback here. This week, it's already down close to 6%. There's possibility that it comes down to 157, possibly even lower down to $130, something that we may need to be ready for, and we need to be prepared if and when that actually does happen. So that's going to be the entire analysis. Long term, depending on the time horizon, AMD still, in my opinion, is a strong company, moving in the right direction with respect to AI, but it really comes down to the analyst and the investor itself. Like, how much are you willing to pay for the future earnings? And valuation wise, at 66, 65 times earnings, I'm not super comfortable on a non-GAAP basis. So I would be, again, a lot better, closer to low 100s or even in sub $100 is where I would consider myself a buyer for AMD. In the meantime, kind of happy with my position, may actually end up closing it or sell a call to hedge my potential downside here if there is more potential drawdowns here, given how overbought we technically are at the moment. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, find it helpful. If you did, make sure that you drop a like. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and what do you think about Advanced Micro Devices. Overall, I would say that the company actually did grow Well, actually, it was mostly flat, but it is getting started with artificial intelligence in a sense that there's a lot of potential opportunity here. So if you come down, take a look at earnings expectations for advanced micro devices on an annual basis, it's expected to go from like 371 in 2024 all the way to $10.60. So there is incredible potential for earnings expansion, for revenue growth, going from 26 billion all the way to $48 billion over the next 5 years as well. So still remains one of my top stocks, but at a better valuation. And I think that's really important because you can find an excellent company, great company, but if it's overpriced, if it's trading at an overvalued level, it's all the same for me because I wouldn't necessarily take action on it unless it's a great asset trading at a great price. So hope you all enjoyed this video, found it helpful. Make sure that you drop a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Again, links to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below if you're interested in joining us. The first week of the month is the best time to join, and definitely do subscribe. We're closing in at 77,000 subscribers, so I really appreciate each and every one of you. And as always, happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video.